right, good morning everyone. My name is Elizabeth Silva, and this is my associate,
Rebecca Policar.
And we were just recently approached by Scott Montgomery, the Chief Human Resources Officer with Thomson Technology, with a few management issues that have been going on within this technology system. And so today we are actually going to go ahead and discuss with you some of the issues that we have figured out throughout our case study, and discuss with you more of a solution plan of how to handle this situation. Okay, so today we're actually going to be focusing on the hot desking scenario. Before I get into all the problems that we had recovered, I want to go ahead and give you the background of the company itself. So Thomson Technology is actually a software program for financial services, and it was founded actually in 1988 by Alan Thomson. So it has been around for quite some time. Here recently in 2006, they had hired Howard Kessler, who became the CEO of the company, with Thomson still having some ownership into that. But then afterwards, they had hired Jack Albright, and then he went ahead and hired Elizabeth and Scott Montgomery, which is who we're discussing with these issues. After that, when everyone started getting equipped with everything, there was a recession in 2008. With that became a hiring freeze with the company, and that made a lot of disturbances within everybody and all the employees. One of which that occurred after the hiring freeze was a flexible scheduling for all the employees. This was beneficial for the employees because it gave them a wider opportunities of hours to work. But what it had done was, for the non-exempt workers that were normally scheduled from 8 to 5, everybody was on a schedule from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and which would be a 12-hour flex time to where they could work and actually work from home. Unfortunately though, the hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. was the core business hours, and so they would have to be at work during those times on which days they picked to work those. And like I said, all the other hours were done telecommunicating either from home or wherever was most convenient for them. So this went on for several months, and it seemed to work very well for the employees. And then after that, Jack Albright had presented hot desking to Scott to see about maybe let's reducing some of the size. And with that, Rebecca will take over right there.
So let's go into hot desking. Hot desking is a practice in the office where they allocate desks to workers when they are rotating the system. So when they're still doing flex scheduling, they'll be doing hot desking, where no longer the employees would have an individual desk. They would be rotating the desks out. So just a couple of reasons why Mr. Albright suggested hot desking was to consolidate space. They had 4 floors and they wanted to consolidate to 2 floors. This would help them save on cost. They'd be able to lease the additional space out and generate extra revenue that way. So when Mr. Albright brought this to Mr. Montgomery said that data looked like it was going good, productivity was increasing with flex scheduling, that they thought this could be a good adjustment. So Mr. Montgomery went ahead and sent an email to all the employees where he said that they had 30 days to go ahead and clean out all of their desks so they can go ahead and start implementing the new hot desking procedure. So we wanted to go ahead and address a couple of problems that happened or that we foresee happening since he implemented the 30-day notice via email. And one of those problems we saw was resistance. They had already had a little bit of resistance with the managers when they started flex scheduling. Some of the managers weren't very trained. They didn't know how to manage employees that weren't on site. So we see that that's still being a huge problem here with hot desking, not only with managers, but also employees. In one of the scenarios, it did state that after the email was sent out, they didn't really explain what hot desking was. It's very vague. He kind of gave a time limit and left it up to the employees what to do next. So they weren't very informed. With that, with the company, especially in the U.S., their individualism felt like it would be taken away. And already, for example, they had already gone through some changes. So resistance is kind of big, will increase in this company due to the hiring freeze, the reorganization of the company, and having these new managers come on.
A second problem that we needed to address was the health and safety, not only for the managers, but for the employees. When you are downsizing to just a few desks that's going to be shared, there's obviously going to be hygiene issues going on. You know, people need to maintain all of their desks and keep it clean, you know, with that. So, and under the Health and Safety Act regulations of 1992, it states that employers owe a duty of care to ensure that all workstations are properly maintained and safe for all employees. So with that being said, again, in that email, all that was said was, here's 30 days, clean out your desk. Not, this is how we're gonna do this. This is desk for A, B, and C that you're gonna share. Your job is to clean the desk, your job is to dust, your job is to Lysol. Nothing was addressed of how to handle this. And so by not stating any of that, this is putting your employees at a health and safety risk. You know, one person before could have the flu and comes into work and is working on the desk and then leaves, and then the next person that comes in may work at that same desk and end up getting any virus that was on the person from before. So in order to keep the cleanliness updated, there has to be a Department of Labor or OSHA that needs to come in and check and see if they are in compliance with all the health and safety issues regarding that. And again, like I said, there has been no policy stated on how to maintain those areas, and nor really any training on how to upkeep that. So, and then another problem that we wanted to address is the communication. Obviously, how we've just said, you know, there was an email that was sent out just stating, hey, let's go ahead and clear your desk, and it wasn't communicated exactly what hot desking was. There was no communications about how we're going to clean your desk or who's going to be in charge of that, really. So I believe for the company, most importantly, they need to work on their communication overall, especially when drastic changes are being made. Instead of just emailing everybody, maybe have a company meeting, getting everyone together to have that face-to-face interactions. And if anybody has any questions, then they can feel free to ask instead of letting their mind wander and think horrible things. So yes, and like I said with the email, and how that was done very, very hastily too, it didn't leave a good settlement into any of the employers, and obviously you don't want that for your company. And again, he did not define hot desking with that, nor did he allow enough time to forecast a strategic plan. By giving the employees 30 days, that did not set up anything for anybody, really. It just says, hey, let's clear your desk out, and we're just gonna go in and just try this out with no plans. And obviously that's not gonna go very smoothly, especially when you already have employers or employees that are resistant to begin with. So obviously communication is key with this company. That definitely needs to be worked on.
So me and Elizabeth, we sat down and we talked a little bit about some of the problems that we just discussed with you. We wanted to come up with a solution plan, just not for the managers, which Thompson Technology, when they addressed it to us, thought that that was gonna be the problem, training the managers. We felt like we should give them a little bit more of a solution plan when it encompasses the whole corporation. So one of the things is when they started consolidating, we felt with employees to just keep a little bit of their personal items, if they needed it, if they wanted something at their desk, to go ahead in one of their their first or second floors, to go ahead and do individual storage for each of the employees. We also felt like the email needed to be followed up immediately and to continue to keep updating the employees. Communication, like she said, is key. Flex scheduling, you don't get a lot of people on site. They do have a 10 to 2 peak, which if they go to hot desking, they would not be able to employ all their employees at one time. So we felt like, look at the desks they have, look at the number of employees they have, and do a ratio. What's the ratio looking like? Are they wanting to do 2 employees to 1 desk, 3 employees to 1 desk? This would also help with health and safety, understanding how many employees they have and how many desks they have. We thought to boost morale, and since they are doing flex scheduling, they should go ahead and start hosting maybe some work events. One of the first work events could be informing them about hot desking, having training with their managers. And also they need to issue a policy mandating workstation cleanliness and upkeep. Policies on flex scheduling will change. They need to go ahead and incorporate hot desking. They need to incorporate work and health safety. And this, again, will incorporate more better communication, clear communication.
Yes.
So in conclusion, we feel like continuous meetings, gauging the manager's motivation and attitude towards the new changes. They do have some managers that are experienced in flex scheduling. They could use those managers, incorporate them more with the traditional managers, training them more on flex scheduling, training them more on hot desking. And they also need to do training opportunities for the employees. These are really key things me and Elizabeth thought were important. And we believe that hot desking, flex scheduling, it is a modern thing. They do have some data of productivity increasing. So we do think that if Thompson Technology implements the proposed solution plan, hot desking can become a competitive advantage for the corporation.
Alrighty, well thank you guys for listening, and if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to either email me or Rebecca, and we will be sure to take care of that for you.